Okay, so the directions tell us to label the place value charts. Fill in the blanks to make the following equations true, and draw discs in the place value chart to show how you got your answer, using arrows to show any bundling. So let's talk about what all that means. What's the very first thing that it tells us to do? Label the place value charts. So we're going to start with part A. What is the smallest unit on the place value chart? What's the smallest unit in a whole number, Ainsley? Ones. So in the very last column, you're going to label that ones. Yes, ma'am. Yes. Okay, what's the next smallest unit on our whole number place value chart? Olivia? Tens. So we'll label that tens. As we move up in value to the next unit, what is that going to be, Amy? Hundreds. And the largest unit that we have on this place value chart is what, Harper? Thousands. Yes, ma'am. There, will kick off in a minute and it'll not be so cold. Alright, so the next part says to fill in the blanks to make the following equations true. So in part A, it says 10 times 3 ones equals how many ones?
30.
What is 10 times 3? 30. And we're still in our ones place value. So 10 times 3 ones equals 30 ones. Let's go ahead and we're going to move down to our place value chart and we're going to prove that on the chart. So how many ones did I start with?
0.
3. So we're going to put 3 ones. And now we're going to make 3 groups of 10 to show 3 times 10 or 10 times 3. Go ahead and do that on yours. Yes. Do you not have one that's sharp? Hang on just a minute. Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Here, hold on to that. Yes, I will. I will take care of that.
I don't know how she's going to maintain it because Tammy leaves to go to high school.
Yes,
But that's not my problem.
exactly. All right. So you should have gotten your 3 groups of 10. Now let's bundle those. How am I going to bundle the 30 ones that I have? What am I going to do, Jaden?
What you do is you put an arrow that's going to the tens, and then you put 3 tens.
Okay, how do I get 3 10s?
Okay, so you have 10 ones make 1 10.
Exactly, 10 ones make 1 10. So I'm going to group those together with a circle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 10 ones. I'm going to group those together. I'm going to do that for my next group of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then I have I'm going to see if I have another group of 10. 1, 2, 3, How many groups of 10 do I have?
3.
I have 3 groups of 10. So I'm going to, just like Jaden said, I'm going to use an arrow to move my first group of 10 over to my tens place value. Going to move my second group over. And my third group over. So we just proved that 30 ones is equal to how many tens?
3.
3 tens. How do I write that number in standard form? Just 30. Very good. 3 in the tens place and a 0 in the ones place. Yes, sir.
Can I go to the bathroom?
Wait till this lesson's over, okay? Can you wait until this is over?
Yes.
Okay. All right, let's do the next one. This time we have 10 times 2 tens. So what are we starting with?
2.
2 what? 2 what?
10.
2 tens. What is 10 times 2 tens? How many tens would that give us?
20.
20. 2 times 2 tens is equal to 20 tens. How would we make 20 tens or write? How would we write 20 tens in standard form? Jacob?
20.
Okay, 20 tens.
Wait. 20 and then 10.
Let's check it out on our place value chart. We need to label it first. My smallest unit is, what's my smallest unit?
1.
Ones. What's my next smallest unit?
10.
Tens. As I'm getting larger, the next largest place value, hundreds. And the largest place value represented on this chart?
So we
Thousands.
just write the beginning of like the.
Yes.
I'll put a shape of thousands.
Yes, ma'am.
I need to.
Alright, so we have our place value chart labeled. We were starting with how many tens, Caden?
2.
2 tens. So we're going to put those in our place value chart. What are we multiplying those 2 tens by? We're multiplying by 10,
10.
which is going to equal 20. So let's represent that on our chart. We're going to make 2 groups of 10. That proves that what we wrote was correct. 10 times 2 tens is equal to 20 tens. Now what can we do with those 20 tens?
We can bundle them.
We can bundle them. How many tens does it take to make the next largest unit, Jacob?
10.
10. So I'm going to circle my groups of 10. There's one group of 10. I can go ahead and move it over. And here's my second group of 10. Can move it over as well. So now how do I write that number in standard form? 20 tens is the same as what?
200.
200s. I have 200s in my place value chart. What's that number look like in standard form? Amy? Okay, how do I write that? 200. 2 in the hundreds place, 0 in the tens place, and 0 in the ones place. Questions about those two? Okay, let's go on to the next one, part C. Let's label our place value chart. If you don't want to write the whole word, it's okay for you to just write the first letter. So I could use an O for ones, a T for tens, an H for hundreds. I like to use a capital T for thousands. Or you could do like a TH to represent thousands.
I accidentally wrote a capital T.
I just put
That's okay.
the word's not even that long.
Okay, yeah. And if you choose to write the whole word, that's okay too. All right, I want to give you just a minute. I want you to see if you can complete part C by yourself. See if you can complete part C on your own. All right, so 400 times 10. How did you start that, Ansley?
Well, I drew four hundreds and then I made groups of 10.
Okay, so in your hundreds place value, you started with 4. And then you said you made groups of 10. How many groups of 10 will you have? 4 groups of 10. What would we do next?
Then you would draw circles around each one and bundle them to thousands place.
Perfect. I'm going to take 10 hundredths and I'm going to bundle them and move it to the thousands place. Why do I bundle 10 hundredths together to make 1,000?
Because 10 tens equals 100 and like 10 hundreds equals 1,000.
Exactly. 10 hundredths equals 1,000. And 1,000, like I think you said at the very beginning, is 10 times bigger than 100. So I've got my 4 thousands moved over. So if I go back to fill in to make the equation true, 4 hundredths times 10 equals how many hundreds, Caden?
4. No, 4. 400.
How many hundreds?
1.
4 hundredths times 10 equals how many hundreds? What's 4 times 10?
4 times 10 is 40.
40. So I have 40 hundredths. And 40 hundredths we proved on our place value chart is the same as 4 what? For what?
100.
Not hundreds. We had 40 hundreds.
4,000.
4,000. How do I write 4,000 in standard form?
4,000.
Okay, so I have my 4. Now what do I put?
3 zeros.
3 zeros. 4 in the thousands place, and I put a comma. Then 0 hundreds, 0 tens, and 0 ones. All right, on the back of your page, it tells you on number 2 to complete the following statements using your knowledge of place value. 1 times as many. See these words, times as many as? What math symbol could I replace the underlined words with? Jacob? Yeah, just a multiplication symbol. So I've got 10 times 110 is...
10.
Yeah, so what could we replace this word is with? What math symbol could we use?
The equal sign.
The equal sign. So 10 times 110 is how many tens? 10 tens. Very good.
No, can I just pull out the actual
Yeah.
paper?
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, let's look at part B. 10 times as many as how many tens equals 30 tens. What would we have? How many tens would it take if I multiplied it by 10 to equal 30 tens? Christopher?
It would take 3.
It would take 3. 10 times as many as 3 tens is 30 tens. And what's that? How many hundreds is that equal to? 30 tens is equal to how many hundreds? 3 hundreds. Very good.
Do you have to write all like the things?
No. How would I complete part C?
Like the beginning part?
Okay, so what's the missing part there? Blank as 9 hundreds.
Times as many.
10 times as many. Very good.
Now just write the times symbol.
Yes. 10 times as many as 9 hundreds is 9 thousandths. Right. How many thousands does it take to be the same as 20 hundreds? How many thousands are the same as or equal to 20 hundreds, Ansley? 2. Very good. I want you to use pictures, which could be a place value chart, numbers, or words to explain or to prove that 2,000 is equal to 20 hundreds. Take just a minute to complete that.
Just like
All right, I've added a picture of Jaden's explanation. So tell us what your picture means.
if you have two groups of 100, and then technically it's just like what I said whenever we were doing the back side of it. If we get 200 and we can't really keep 200 in the 100 place, so we have to give 100, the bigger 100 over to the 1,000.
Okay, so how many 100s does it take to make 1,000?
2. Well, actually, it's 9.
How many do you have in each group?
I have 10.
10 in each group. It takes 10 hundreds to equal 1,000. So what Jaden did is she took each group of 10 that she had and she bundled them together and then moved it over to the thousands place value. So can anybody, from what we've done, can anybody identify a pattern of what happens when you multiply by 10? What happens on our place value chart each time we multiply by 10, Jacob?
Goes up 2 times.
Yeah, which does what on the place value chart?
Makes it go to a higher number.
Exactly. Anytime you multiply by 10, it moves, your answer will be the next largest place value. So we had 2,000 was equal to 20 hundreds. When we multiplied 200 times 10, we moved from the hundreds place value to the thousands place value. Does anybody notice a pattern with the zeros? What happens with the zeros in the when we multiply by 10? Olivia?
The zeros get more zeros.
How many more zeros?
Like
How many zeros get added to
2.
a number?
1.
1. Each time we multiply by 10, we add a 0 to the end. Very good. All right, very quickly, let's look at number 3. Matthew has 30 stamps in his collection. Matthew's father has 10 times as many stamps as Matthew. How many stamps does Matthew's father have? Use numbers or words to explain how you got your answer. How many stamps does the problem tell us that Matthew has?
30.
30. So Matthew has 30.
And his father has 10 times as many.
His father has 10 times as many. So how can we write that as an equation? What can we do, Jacob?
30 times 10.
30 times 10. We have the 30 stamps that Matthew has. If we multiply 30 times 10 to show the 10 times as many as his father has, what's my answer going to be, Caden? 300. 300. How do you know that?
Because I added 30 to that.
Okay, and we could also prove that on our place value chart, because each time we multiply by 10, we go to the next highest place value.